Back for another Poke Nation. Jim Gazzolo, Heath, Schroyer, everything's happening around here.
It's crazy.
Guys are coming back. Guys are coming into the program.
Yeah. Yep.
You got stars over here coming in, stars coming in basketball.
It's great.
Last week was a big week for you guys.
It was a really big week. Yep. Signed an unbelievable wide receiver from Cincinnati, a former four-star kid.
Yeah, I got a lot of heat for the star thing, you know.
Yeah.
Because I wrote he was a 4-star. He was a 4-star.
He was.
And everybody goes crazy because I write that and they say he's only 3 stars. When he came out of high school, he was a 4-star.
For sure, he was.
And if it's like All-American. If you're an All-American in one poll, you're an All-American. If you're a 4-star in one, I don't care what the rest say, you are a 4-star.
I'll tell you what, I was able to meet Marcus when he came on his visit, and just a phenomenal kid. And we spent about 30 minutes just talking about the direction of the football program and where we're headed. I'm really, really excited. And you know, it's funny. I'm not claiming I know everything about football, but here's what
I would hope you wouldn't.
Here's what I do know. That's what they look like.
No, he looks the part.
That's what they look like.
Everything I've heard and seen of him, it's a dynamite signing. I got another commit last night of a defensive tackle, 330-pound.
Yep.
I haven't found out the details on him yet. I'll make some calls on that today. But there are kids that want to come here all of a sudden. As you get kids like Marcus Peterson, who's known, who has connections, other kids follow.
Well, 100%. And, you know, I think that, and that is 100% the case. And the hardest one to get is always the first one. And then we go, oh, okay, well, now that's cool. And I think that I'm so excited about where our football program is and where it's headed. I mean, we're only going to have 4 seniors in our program next year. And, we're going to be good. I mean, I think that we're another wide receiver or so away, but if we can get one more or 2 more in the portal to go with the young kids that we have coming in, I think we're going to be really, really good.
Well, I will say this: the kids coming in, I think it's 5 coming in the summer, all are bona fide big kids. They're 6'5", 6'4".
Sure.
They're the real deals on looks. Now,
absolutely.
How ready are they and how quick they can contribute on a college level is different. But there's a different look about a football team right now.
No question about it. And I think that, our strength and, again, we've had a full off season.
Yeah.
The
first off season in 7 years.
Yeah, for sure.
First true off season in 7 years.
And we've actually had some continuity in recruiting and some continuity in the program.
And coaching.
And so all those things come into play, and I think we're going to have a great year. And then you talked about or alluded to another kid. I mean, obviously Christian Shoemate decided to come back, and again, I think that
the same day that you got a point guard from TCU.
Exactly right. And I think that I think Christian looked at, again, I haven't talked to the kid, but I just believe that they see kind of what's going on here, and we got a chance to, like I've said before on this program, the next 3 to 5 years is our window to become really, really relevant regionally and even nationally. We have the right coaches that are in place that truly not only believe that, but they accept that responsibility. Like, I've made no bones about it to both of them. Like we need to win. At the end of the day, we have to win. We're here. They keep score for a reason. And both of these coaches are not making excuses why they can't. They're all in on trying to be great.
And they're trying to recruit to a higher level.
Absolutely.
And that's a bigger deal of, and Gary Goff will tell you, the first year he was here, he was just trying to get people on campus now he's got something to show them.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Okay, so I got to ask you this.
Okay.
I ask you it once a month. Where are we on the press box?
A lot closer than we were a week ago. But we should have, we really, honestly, we should have some type of announcement here this month. That is our goal. I don't want to say too much because I'm not a overpromise, underdeliver person. There's been a lot of speculation out there and things thrown out in the past. I'm not going to do that until everything is solidified and done. But if it goes the way I'm hoping it will go, it's going to be a great time and a great day for us to announce the press box.
And do you think that is, because I think this is a summer of change in college sports again.
Yep.
But I think it's even bigger, just not the bigger names. I think the bigger names have dropped. Now we're going to see some of the kind of flow from the bigger names down. Do you think you need to have one when you make your presentation to a league?
For sure. I mean, I think all of that helps. At the end of the day, all that helps. And I think that, the things that we can control is putting ourselves in the best position to be as successful as we can where we're at, and also to have the things in place that allow us to be attractive to somebody else if and when that train comes around again. That's all we can control. And I think that the press box, the facility upgrades, our funding model, our ability to recruit, the head coaches we have in place, I mean, those are all...
Names matter. Head coaching names matter.
There's no question about it. And I think that obviously just being able to, and I work on this every day myself, control the controllables, and I think we're doing that.
When we come back, Brendon Gilroy will talk track. Southland Conference Championships coming up after this weekend, after this on Polk Nation.
Welcome back to Polk Nation. Coach Gilroy, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, it's a big weekend coming up, huh?
Yep, we have the outdoor championship starting Thursday.
Thursday in Commerce.
In Commerce, Texas.
And
yes, sir.
so, team ready to roll?
Well,
staff ready to go?
Staff's ready to go. The team is looking pretty good. We're a little undermanned right now on the women's side. We did have a couple of key injuries this year, and so Sakari Famous won't be jumping for us, and then Morgan Talley, our MVP for indoors, had a little strain in Achilles, and just letting that heal up. She's going to be back all through next year, so we're just making sure those are two super athletes that did a great job for us, making sure that they're Sakari has a fracture in her back. So and it's healing. So we got to make sure she's can't jump in a fractured back.
So can't jump on a fractured back.
But the team is looking pretty good.
That's
though.
true.
There you go. Yeah, you can.
So let's. I'm really curious about this, and I'm sure Polk Nation is too. But so it starts on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
The championships. When do you leave? And then obviously with track and field, obviously the athletes are so different as far as what they eat, and how they get ready for a championship like this. So walk us through that, Coach. Like when will you leave? And then like what do they eat? I mean, how does all that work?
Well, being that we're also starting finals, so we have two waves going out. So we have one bus at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and another bus at 1 p.m. because some of them had two finals to take, and so two buses going out tomorrow. We'll have a day to go through a shakeout, get them ready for the meet. Just see the facility. We haven't been up there yet before. I believe it's around their football stadium. So, which I've seen pictures and videos of it. It looks pretty nice. But we just want to get the feel for the rings for the throwers and the runways for the jumpers and stuff, and then let some of the runners get a couple of block starts and some spin some short sprints around the bends. It's just kind of a feel for the track and stuff. That'll be Wednesday. So as far as eating and stuff, I mean, I'm hoping they get a chance to sleep with these final preps, for the exams and stuff. But we prepared them for this. We told them this. It happens every year. It's either going to be up against finals or be up against graduation.
Right.
So it's just the way it's the nature of the beast. So I think it affects about 3/4 of the teams this way. So, no, I mean everybody's got their own thing. So we try and keep it as simple. Right now, after I finish this, we're going to a staff meeting and figure out the food situations up at Commerce and see where what's there available for them to grab and what we can get for them as well.
So like obviously that every event is different, right?
Of course.
And so, but like you talk about distance, like what does someone who's running the distance, that day, distance of an event, like what do they take in, right? Like, is there something, like when I was a coach, right, I wanted to do a lot of carbs the night before, right? And so I would always try to find like a spaghetti or lasagna or something like that the night before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just curious along, these athletes are so specific. Is there something that,
and picky.
And picky, right. Is there something, universal that you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, like a good, a grill, some grill place that has lots of options is handy. Not to mention any names of restaurants here, but unless you want to give any deals or sponsorships. But a grill, some sort of we have some people that just like rice, so the carb there, and then pasta. But you can't go wrong with pasta normally. So I mean, that's what we're looking at right now to see what's available up there and where it's located in terms of for the hotel And as far as from the track, you mentioned it's a nice downtown. I've never been there before, so I can't tell you that. But I mean, looking at the map, it looks all pretty centrally located.
Yeah,
which
it is.
Which is
That
good.
it is.
Yeah, that's handy.
I wouldn't say it's the greatest place in the world, but it's
Right,
pretty handy.
right,
where
right.
that goes.
So,
With track and field, you've seen a lot of. How many of these teams have you already seen in other meets to kind of see where you stack up against?
oh well, we've seen most of them. There's a couple. We hadn't seen UIW at all. And they're pretty much on the men's side. They're looking to be they're returning champions, and they haven't lost much of anything really. The run that we had last year, we had some very, very, very good girls stayed, but we also had some very, very good girls depart, in terms of for grad school or for careers.
Yeah.
So I mean that's part of it. They graduate and they move on. So, we have a computer program I can go into and see where we're kind of stacking up with our performance. Now it depends where, coaches are like chess players. They're going to put different people in different events,
Yeah.
and we might not have ran everybody in all our events leading into this meet either. So, but right now we're looking, we're shooting for a top 3 on both. I think it's definitely possible, which would be very good considering what we graduated and departed from the team last year on the women's side, and then what we have injured right now. That losing Morgan and Sakari right now, that's big.
How much you mentioned that is how much is it where you do play that chess game of you don't show all your cards at certain meets against conference? Do you do much of that or
No, it's just availability, like for example, at 10,000 meters, which is 6.2 miles around the track. You're not running those down south very often. You might take a shot out west. We took a shot out of the Tex relays about 4 weeks ago, which we did pretty good there with the 2 boys, and then Circa Maloney. She debuted in the event and looked really strong there, so which is good, So, but we just got. At the end of the day, we gotta go out and compete. That's at the end of the day. So, and hopefully don't get too nervous.
When we come back on Polk Nation, we'll have more with Coach Gilroy after this. We're back with track coach Brendon Gilroy, talking about the Southland Conference Championships, which are Thursday through Saturday.
Correct.
You said this year you guys are going to a lot of night stuff. The schedule's longer and deeper.
So we typically on the last day we're out of there by like 5 o'clock, but it's not really doing justice to the kids and trying to qualify for the next round of the regional meet and stuff like that. So they actually most of your conferences do it later on, and since Commerce has lights, they can.
They can do it.
Yeah, they can do it. And we had that experience at UIW a couple years ago where it must have been 140 on the track, and you can't run a 5,000. Literally, our little girl in the 200, she passed out in the prelims. We had to take her to the hospital. She all her electrolytes were lost. Yeah, so it was really bad. It was serious. Yeah. So.
Is there a different thing this year because the weather hasn't been that hot?
No.
Is there a different kind of training, and are you worried about it getting hot all
No,
of a
we've been
sudden?
putting together some good workouts. On my end, we have. The sprinter's been a little bit different, but I don't think the weather up there is going to be that hot either. I think there's a front coming that's going to stay over us for a couple of days. Maybe Saturday might be better. I don't know, but we just got to see. I don't write the weather, so I mean, so we just.
Coach, let's shift gears. So
Yeah.
I think that, obviously a lot of people in this community really value what you guys do and your program does in the community.
Right.
They're great ambassadors on campus and in the community. When they come in and you start your year off, and obviously we're winding down the season and the year, but when they come back into the fall, what do you talk about and what expectations do you have for all of your kids in the program? I mean, you coach you basically coach 6 sports, right?
Correct.
But what is it that you do? What is the message you give to the kids? Because I'll tell you, they are great ambassadors on campus and in this community.
Well, you want to make sure, no matter what you do in life, you come into a situation, you want to make it better by the time you leave. So
Sure.
if it's here and you can come in, you can elevate. If you just elevate your part, and you can make it better that way, then they've done their job. So and we don't like to lose. We're all very competitive. So it could be community service. It could be getting the most study hall hours, or it could be a canned food drive or something like that. So we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward every time we try and do something. Because in life, if you put your best foot forward, you should be successful.
Right.
Talk
about this. How many student athletes? We talked about, okay, you're the head coach really of 6 different sports, but how many student athletes do you have or tell Polk Nation that are in on the track and field, in the track and field
Well,
program?
put it like this, 80 plus. So 80 plus right now. It started the season at 85. We're probably down to about 81 right now. A couple of through attrition, just fell off for whatever reason. But yeah, we're over 80. So yeah, so
That's a lot of people to manage, Jim.
And you got them from all over the world.
yeah. So the
So how does that kind of integrate into Southwest Louisiana? How do they come here from all over the world, not only the country?
Well, the computer has a lot to do with that. But the demographic of the team, it's about 30. So 30% is domestic in-state, right? 30% is about domestic out-of-state, mostly from Texas,
Yeah.
because it's right there,
Yeah.
And then 30% from wherever. And then, and the thing is, like, it's really kind of cool because you bring a kid in from like Hackberry, for example. We have a little javelin tour from Hackberry. She has teammates with her that are from, God knows where. Or my daughter, for example, she's from Lake Charles. She has teammates from Spain, England, Ireland, Kenya. Now, like this summer, we're going back to see my father, and then after that, she's going to visit one of her teammates. And she's never done that before. We had a kid here years ago, I think I talked about him before, Jared LeBlanc. He
Yeah.
left here speaking Swahili. His best friend was Josh Salway, who's an assistant on my staff when he's in town. He's active military right now. But he went to Kenya for his wedding. Playing his Cajun accordion.
It's really funny, but not to get political, but I've always said that inside of a locker room, if people want to learn how to get along across the world and across the country, put them in a locker room and have a common goal. Because, like when I coached, and Coach alluded to it, I love the fact that you had different players, and I didn't have a lot of foreign kids, but a lot of different players from different backgrounds and cultures, and to watch the locker room and how, people just get to know each other, and the biases are gone, and it's really, really unique. And I think track does that as well as
We have a young man on the team right now. Well, there's 3 young men, but Omar Al Fidel, who's risen to one of
Yeah.
our top distance runners now. He's from Doha, Qatar. He's a Muslim, and last year the Commerce meet finished right at the end of Ramadan. Now I know Hakeem Olajuwon's numbers might have dipped during Ramadan. Omar's gone up. He's gotten faster, so it's crazy. But I tried to do what they do. It's impossible. I mean, you don't eat or drink from sun up to
Sun up to sundown.
Yeah, and the sun comes up pretty early here, and it goes down pretty late.
Maybe that would have been fine over winter when there's no sun, but
Yeah.
no. The thing what do you think, and what do you try to do to get them ready to get into regional qualification?
Yeah.
Well, they have to hit marks. Top 48 in the whole eastern United States in your event, so it's tough. Track and field. It's not like basketball or football, but indoors is really hard to get into. It's only top 16 in the whole country. They're talking about going to a regional format there, but the outdoors, it kind of gives a little bit more. We don't have to chase marks as much, but if you get top 48 in your event in the whole eastern United States, so it's all half the country, you go to the regional meet. From there, the top 12 will advance to nationals. So that if you're not on, but if you get there, you're not on. Now, if you're there, you have a chance. And that's what happens. I mean, we've had your employee, John, he was one of the top triple jumpers in the country at the time. We got to South Florida, and the runway was too short. Him and 2 others that were top 5 in the region didn't make it out that year. Yeah. It cost Florida probably the team championship that year. Yeah.
And that's all starts this weekend at Commerce with the Southland Conference Championships. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're back on Polk Nation. Southland Conference Championships in track and field, men's and women's, at Commerce this weekend. I thought they were going to UIW.
No, they're going to Commerce. And I think that I want to say that they were already prepared to host in their previous conference, the Lone Star. So I think that's why they have, but I don't know exactly how all that was shook out. But I will tell you that, we talked about it in the last 2 segments, but Coach does an unbelievable job. I mean, to be able to manage 80 kids from different cultures and countries and all that.
And different sports.
And different sports. I mean, it is, he does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting job because cross country is different, track, field is different. Track and field are 2 different sports within one. So it's a rough job. All right, as we move forward, this month, you're going to host 2 more tournaments.
It's a lot. I know.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We met on it. Obviously, we film on Mondays. We met on it today, and we got 2 coming up, and but I think we're ready. I mean, we obviously hosted baseball last year.
Yeah.
We actually hosted really 2 weekends,
Yeah.
so we're pretty familiar with that.
2 different types of tournaments. Yeah.
For sure. In softball, we've hosted that before, and but it's a lot. Anytime you have that many teams, on, in your community, it's great. Again, it's unbelievable for our community because of the revenue that it brings, but it's a lot of work for us.
And the big thing is there's no, like with basketball, there was a prep basketball tournament in town.
Yes.
You're not going to be fighting that, especially when baseball comes.
No question about it.
The softball was last week. and
Exactly.
The 2 sports are different. So you're going to get all the attention.
Yeah, and I think that, again, it's, when we negotiated these things, that was part of it. And, I think that it's great for our community. It's great for us. And hopefully we play well. Hosting it does not guarantee you win it.
No.
So hopefully our fans will come out and support us. And, right now our softball program is hopefully we can, have another good weekend. We can lock up first place. And
Your magic number is 2.
That's right.
In baseball, it's called magic number.
Magic
is
number.
2.
Okay. And then, I don't know what our magic number is in baseball, but hopefully we can, finish as high as we can and get the best seed we can. And,
2024. 2024 is your magic number to win baseball for the
sure.
regular season.
For sure.
Yeah, baseball-wise, it looks like you're going to be locked in one of the top 4 seeds.
Yeah, hopefully.
Depending on how the last 2 weekends work out. Strange thing about baseball is you finish with a non-league,
Right.
which kind of makes it kind of interesting that you can set up your pitching a little differently.
Yeah.
But it is kind of an interesting way to go. All right, sports in general. NIL money, everything going on in sports and college sports.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you guys, without a big NIL deal in that, are drawing people back into your programs.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about McNeese? But I also want to ask you this before I get off the subject. We talk about facilities. You've gutted the locker room in football, correct?
We did.
And that is, when will that be done? Because I'd like to take people on a tour of that when it's done.
It'd be great. We did. It's over a $1 million project that we've upgraded in football. The locker room will be state of the art. It has been that program has been neglected for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
It was well past due. Right now it's on schedule to be ready before fall camp. Before the players get in there for camp this summer, August 1st. So they're working on it every day. It's going to be phenomenal, but it's something that I wanted to do. It's something we needed to do. And again, it's just you have to continue. When you bring a recruit in, right? Like we talked about, Marcus from Cincinnati. You bring him in, you have to be able to sit there and say, look, we are committed to football. I mean, we're not putting it over $1 million in a locker room if we're not committed to it.
Yeah.
We're not putting this type of press box if we're not committed to it. And I just think that anybody can talk, but actually, actions speak louder than words. And obviously our commitment to basketball is there too. And look, we've talked about this before. NIL is the future. We are 100% moving towards that direction. And again, college athletics today is a lot different than it was a year ago, 18 months ago, let alone 5 or 10 years ago. We have to adapt. And, we have to centralize all of our fundraising. We have to centralize our clubs. And we have to be able to get into the game, if you will, and do the things we need to do to attract the athletes we have to attract.
If only the clubs would work with you. You got to have the clubs work with you. Don't forget Sound Off 60 right here on CBS Lake Charles. We'll see you next week on Polk Nation.